key tool for defeating your opponent is information. The more you know about your opponent, the better your decisions will be. Key pieces of information to keep track of include cooldowns, map positioning, and relative champion strength. When we discussed trading, we mentioned how you can punish enemies when their spells are on cooldown. If you keep track of your enemy's spells and when they use them, you will have a strong understanding of when you can engage in combat. It's important to not only track the cooldowns of their basic abilities, but also their ultimate ability and their summoner spells. Often having one extra summoner spell available can give you the slightest edge you need to win a fight. It's also important to note where your enemy is on the map. When you lose track of your lane opponent, you need to let your team know that they have gone missing through either the Smart Ping system or through the chat. Taking the time to note a missing opponent could save one of your allies' lives somewhere else on the map. It's also important to inform your team of the enemy jungler's location whenever you see them. Item advantages are also something you need to be aware of at all times. You can keep track of the enemy team's strength through the scoreboard by holding down the tab button. The scoreboard will show you the level and the items that your opponent had the last time they were visible to your team. Whenever your opponent returns to lane, you need to check their items so you can judge how much offensive or defensive power they've gained, and use that information to adjust your actions in lane. For example, if you see that you have gained an item advantage over your opponent, play more aggressively to get as much as you can out of that item advantage. By the same token, if your opponent has gained an item advantage, recognize that their strength has become greater than yours and adjust accordingly. Potions are an often overlooked item that can swing the balance of power in a lane. Pay attention to how many potions both you and your opponent have at all times. Buying extra potions before returning to lane can enable you to overwhelm your opponent with your healing advantage. If you begin to fall behind, it's best to recognize and accept the advantage that your opponent has, and switch gears from trying to win your lane to trying to control the size of the lead that your opponent gets from the lane phase. Remember that the lane phase is only the first step of the game, and that you will eventually be grouping together with your team. If you can prevent your lane opponent from getting too strong in lane, your team can easily work together to overcome your deficit once the lane phase ends. However, if you allow your opponent to repeatedly punish you and increase their advantage, a lost lane can quickly translate into a lost game.